Hi. So I wanted to kind of share with you guys a little bit about something that I have been reading about. So in one of my classes, we're reading Aristotle's book. Um, it is not exactly his words because there's no evidentiary findings left of Aristotle. So a lot that have been told to others about what Aristotle has said has then became his book. But in this book of Aristotle, he talks about virtue. And he talks about virtue in our lives and what that means. So to us, virtue essentially is this high thing of morality, having a high moral ethic, basically. So within this virtue, he talks about happiness, and it also talks about friendship. So when we think about friendships, nowadays in our world, everyone's your friend, right? I mean, I can't tell you how many times my son has come up to me and said, Mom, that's my friend. I'm like, you've never even met them. But to him, that's his friend, right? And I have made lots of friends throughout my lifetime and also lost a lot of friends. The term friendship is actually passed around almost like candy on Halloween. Here, you want some? Here's a friend. Great. Oh, you shouldn't have candy. You don't feel well. Let me take your friend away. Aristotle talks about how there's many different classifications of friendship, right? But there's only one true friendship that could ever occur in someone's life. This is what Aristotle claims, right? And so I'm going to read you a verse from Aristotle, and then I'm going to discuss it a little bit. But those who love each other wish goods to each other, only insofar as they love each other. Those who love each other for utility love the other not in his own right, but insofar as they gain some good for themselves from him. The same is true of those who love for pleasure. For they like a witty person not because of his character, but because he is pleasant to them. Those who love for utility or pleasure then are fond for a friend because of what is good or pleasant for themselves, not insofar as the beloved is he who is, but insofar as he is useful or pleasant. Hence, these friendships, as well as their friends, are coincidentally, since the beloved is loved not insofar as he is who he is, but insofar as he has provided some good or pleasure. And so for these sort of friendships are easily dissolved. When the friends do not remain similar to what they were. For if something is no longer pleasant or useful, the others stop loving him. What Aristotle is saying, oh my gosh, there's like a bee or something. What Aristotle is saying is that those who love for utility are loving because they are getting something out of it. So you are my friend because you are going to be giving me something. I am using you because you are good. I became friends with the guy in, math class only because he's going to help me achieve a higher grade in math. He then goes on to say that those who love for pleasure are ultimately the same, because those who love for pleasure are essentially getting a utility. They're getting the joy and the pleasure out of having you as your friend. The cause of friendship, Aristotle then says, between young people seems to be pleasure. For their lives are guided by their feelings, and they pursue above all what is pleasure and is pleasant for themselves and what is at hand. But then, as they grow up, what they then seem to find pleasant then changes. Hence, they are quick to become friends and even quicker to stop. For their friendship shifts with what they find pleasant, and the changes in such pleasure is also quick. So, my generation, for instance, we are still considered the younger generation, right? I don't think I'm young, but our generation is considered the younger generation because of the fact that we don't know what we want. We don't have knowledge. And within that knowledge that we don't have, we act on our feelings and our emotions. So our friendships are chosen off of emotions and feelings, right? I like the way he makes me feel safe, so he's going to be my friend. I like the way she makes me feel liked and wanted, so I'm going to be her friend. But then as you grow older and you start to realize, well, now she's not giving me what I wanted. She doesn't make me feel, wanted anymore. Or he doesn't make me feel secure or safe. And so you then take away those friendships. We pass friendships around as if they don't really truly matter, right? Aristotle then says, but complete friendship is the friendship of good people similar in virtue. For they wish goods in the same way to each other, insofar as they are good and they are good in their own right. Hence, they wish goods to each other for each other's own sake. You're not doing it for yourself. You're doing it for that person. That is what Aristotle claims to be a true friendship. Aristotle then tries to compare what he believes the only true friendship one could ever have is. Aristotle states that friends cannot know each other before they have shared their salt as often as it says, and they cannot accept each other or be friends until each appears lovable to the other and gains the other's confidence. Those who are quick to treat each other in friendly ways wish to be friends but are not friends unless they are also lovable. And then know this, for though the wish for friendship comes quickly, friendship itself does not. So we can wish to want to be friends, right? And we can try and force it. But does true friendship actually come right when we want it? As Aristotle then discusses how the erotic lover then becomes friends with their partner, he states the lover takes pleasure in seeing his beloved, but the beloved takes pleasure in being courted by his lover. Neither are asking for the same thing, yet they become friends because they both are doing it for the other's sake and in the sake of themselves. He says that others, however, are asleep or separated by distance, and so are not active in ways, but are in the state that would result in the friendly activities. For distance does not dissolve the friendship without qualification, but only its activity. So what he's saying in this, and this is a big thing that hit me. So people who know me know that I have had a husband who cheated on me when distance became there, right? So our friendship that I cherished in our marriage was then dissolved because of distance. But Aristotle claims that true friendship, distance can't do that. He states that distance can halt the friendship, meaning it's not going to go any further. It's not going to, change its path. It's not going to change its course. It's not going to become less of a friendship or more of a friendship. He says it's just going to pause and stop. He states that without qualification, the friendship won't dissolve. So if our true friendship with our partner is because we are doing it for the other person, our marriage or our relationships won't dissolve because of a pure distance. They will keep together. They will pause where they are and pick up again when distance has been taken out of the picture. He then makes a great point about the difference between loving your partner and being friends with your partner. A lot of people get into relationships because you love your partner, right? But how many can actually say, he's my best friend because of that friendship, right? So he says, loving would seem to be a feeling, but friendship is a state. For loving is directed no less toward inanimate things, but reciprocal loving requires decision. And decision comes from a state. And good people wish good to the beloved for his own sake in accord with their state, not their feelings. Moreover, in loving their friend, they love what is good for themselves. For when a good person becomes a friend, he becomes a good for his friend. Each of them loves what is good for himself and repays in equal measure the wish and the pleasantness of his friend. For friendship is said to be equality, and this is true above all in the friendship of good people. You're equal in your friendships, and you're only unequal when you make it about something else other than the good of each other. You can honor the good of yourself, and you can honor the goods that you do, but make sure the good that you do is the good for somebody else. That is Aristotle's point. So I highly suggest, if anybody really wants to get into the word of Aristotle, there's a book called The Classics of Morale and Political Theory. Okay, and it's written by Michael L. Morgan, or edited by Michael L. Morgan. And Aristotle writes a book called Nicomachean Ethics. And in book 8 is where he discusses the virtue of friendship. If you are having trouble understanding your marriage, your relationship, or your friendships between your friends, this is a great read to understand whether you're actually a friend because you care about the person and you want nothing but the best for them, or whether it's a friendship because of utility or pleasure. Now, there's also another friendship he then discusses, and it's the friendship of security. So, for instance, like the President of the United States, Donald Trump, he becomes friends with people for the purpose of getting some kind of gain in helping him rule the country, right? It's the same concept. So he's saying people of higher power will then choose friends that will help them gain more power. And that's another type of friendship that's not a true friendship, but the only true friendship is that consists of friends and love. And that one friendship will come once in a lifetime. And when that one friendship does come, you will know because there's a whole different aspect of how things are laid out in your relationship. So my message to everybody watching this is to evaluate your relationships with others and to know if you're actually being a true friend for the sake of somebody else or if you're being a friend for utility or pleasure.